Hello, Tom Levecchia here with the latest edition of the New Theory podcast. Now, this is a gonna be a fun one. We have Elaine Culotti from Undercover Billionaire season 2, and if you haven't seen it, it's on Discovery Plus, and it's basically her, Grant Cardone, who's on the show, and a third. What is her name again? Got to forget. Monique, who I believe was Timbaland's ex-wife, correct?
Yeah, they were married for a while.
Yeah, and I don't want to characterize that. I'm just saying, giving a reference. And Elaine is a super successful entrepreneur. We'll get into how and why. And then she decided to basically just go to a random city with no money, and in 90 days have to have $1 million business. We'll find out. Well, she can give as much as she can because the show's not over. You have to watch. But Elaine, welcome to the New Theory podcast. How you doing today?
I'm so excited to be here, Tom. I feel like very special that I got invited to be on.
We're happy to have it.
Without a babysitter telling me what to say.
I love it. We're happy.
Dig in. Get it while the getting's good.
We don't have the lurkers because it's visual. So
we're the publicity managers.
I love it. And when we're super high tech, I got the green screen that you see. Green goes green every time I move. So with that being said, and we got to ask you, how'd you make your money? Give us formative years. How did you get into business, and walk us through that?
I'm a serial entrepreneur. At least that's what I've been tagged through Undercover Billionaire. But really, I made my money the old fashioned way. I worked for it. I'm pretty dedicated to getting up in the morning early and good ideas and follow through and hard work. Those are just kind of the core values that I think follow me around, whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
And I'm always a yes person. I like to say yes to things, even when I'm not sure how it's going to go.
Yeah.
It's more the experience, I think, than anything.
So, and you definitely, and she, we'll put a link and you'll be able to see her full story. But what's interesting enough is you got really big in the real estate space, but your entree was in the design space, correct? If you can walk us through that, if I'm correct on that.
Well, I think people just like being a female designer is actually a little bit easier than being a female, contractor.
Yeah.
People think it's let her fluff the pillows, stay on the inside of the house. You can't go out. There's no girls on the outside, no skirts. I've heard it all.
Yeah.
Interior design is, just has a softer feeling that's maybe, and most male interior designers, they don't want to be called interior design. They want to call architectural designers.
Love it. So then what was your first biggest check and how did you get it? Like when you really, don't get me wrong, like I have family in construction and they do well, like really well, but you hit top tier. So give us your first big score. And then
obviously my first biggest check was when I sold my first piece of real estate, right? I bought a property, I fixed it up, and then I sold it. And the distance between what I had bought it for, put into it, and sold it was so big. The check was literally, I kept looking on my balance sheet on my little checking account, back when they would mail it to you and you had all the numbers and you had the canceled checks. And I was like, that's all my money. That's my money. I made that money. And it was like, where is your money? And I'm like, it's in my checking account. What to do with it?
I love it. I love it.
So that was my first, and it didn't take me long because, I'm not the sharpest knife in the box, but I knew that actually, investing in dirt and then adding hard work to it created blue sky that you could, easily sell if you wanted to. It was just a matter of how much money you wanted to make or lose, right? You could just sell it. And so that's why I believe everyone should own real estate, Tom. Everybody should have that American dream, be able to buy a house, a building. I'm in a high rise right now. Can we buy this high rise? Yeah. I was like, are you out of your mind? You want to buy the whole building? I go, yeah, the whole thing. From the little steeple on the top to the parking garage on the bottom, all four corners, I want to buy the whole building.
I love it. Now, one of the things though that I'm fascinated with, and you kind of touched on just now, but you could have went the route of an agent, meaning I'm going to be a real estate agent, I'm going to make commission, but you jumped into the seat of a principal. So how did you have the courage? How did you know to do that? Why did you do, that's a balls move now, but even a more balls move back then. So I want to know how you hey, instead of being an agent of selling the $20 million, 6%, you were the principal selling it and giving out the 1.2 million commission. I want to know how you got there and how you got that courage and how that was done. That's what I'm super fascinated about, honestly.
do you like, what's your like risky thing to do? Cause I'll bungee jump, I got a little bit of a, screw loose
Yeah.
there in the
You're
excitement. I get, I could do it over and over again.
got it.
And so for me, a lot of things are about the deal
Yeah.
Versus the actual, can I put something complicated together? And can I get all of the players that are involved on the same vision? Can I mobilize the team? And can we have a common goal? And so for me, that's something that you can only get when you have that kind of a project. Real estate brokers and real estate agents have a completely different business. And I never sell my own property. Why? Because I could never do it the way they do it.
Yeah.
I'm way too emotionally involved.
Yeah.
I get the best criticism from real estate brokers.
Yeah.
And it is such a unique space. So, because in the real estate world, it's the one place where you can pay the same amount of money, which is 5% or 4% or 6%, whatever it is, to the best person and to the worst person.
Yes.
It's different than any other business.
Yes.
Right? Every other business you get paid based on your experience and your resume and how good, but real estate's funny that way.
Yep.
And why in the world would you not hire a real estate broker or an agent when the fee's the same to get the biggest and the best? You're basically partnering with the big ones.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
stay in your lane would be my best advice to anybody doing any business, because you think you know, but you don't know everything. No way.
Agreed. So now, for those who don't know the premise, because I don't respectfully, I don't think the show has been marketed optimally, because it's been like some channel conflicts and that kind of stuff. And Elaine's probably not aware of any of that, but so it's on Discovery Plus, and it's basically 3 undercover billionaires: Grant Cardone, Elaine, and Monique. And you're shipped to a city, 90 days, no money. And I know like the season not fully released. So just give us like your strategy kind of at first of what you can speak to, and then maybe give us a little teaser as what to expect.
So there was one season before us, Glenn Stearns.
Yes.
I did not watch it.
Yeah.
I'm very public about the fact I didn't watch it. I just wanted an organic experience. At 55 years old, I hardly needed to be like sleeping in my car.
Correct.
So I wanted to just have my own experience, and I wanted to take like a little sabbatical from my life and just see if I could actually do this.
Nice.
And I drove into Fresno, and the concept is essentially it's existential wealth. Okay, this isn't about billionaires. This is not what that is. I'm a high net worth earner. I think quick on my feet.
Yeah.
What is my existential skill set? What am I worth as a person?
Yeah.
And how can I turn that into $1 million business on a valuation in 90 days, right?
Yeah.
With no resources in my phone or in my wallet.
Correct.
Nothing.
Correct.
I did have a truck. I gotta say, I had an Avalanche.
And you didn't sell it like Grant, right?
No, I thought about it. There was a couple times where I was like, I'll just sell the car, but I needed the wheels, and Fresno's so sprawled out. Like, it's a huge place. Farming is far. You got to get and drive. Lots of gas.
Correct.
And so my strategy when I arrived was to find out as much as I could about the city immediately.
Yeah.
Because, city commerce, is very helpful. The Better Business Bureau, places like that.
Correct.
Unfortunately, because of COVID, everything was closed, which is a shock.
Yeah.
I was wandering around in zombie apocalypse, and I was absolutely terrified. Scared to death, really. Downtown Fresno is it's like any other big downtown.
Yeah. So hold on. So now, if this was a normal show, right, they would maybe pause filming, defer it. I'm assuming it's Discovery, probably Union, the whole bit. But you guys kept trucking along, which made it even more difficult. Was there any point in the 90 days that you were just like, F it? Like, what am I doing? Like, great, I got on TV and maybe I'll get some appearances. My Instagram following will go up. But there had to have been a point or two.
Every morning at about 5
it.
o'clock. Yeah, 5 a.m.
But okay. And then, so you had to do it kind of for yourself to see if you could do it, correct?
Yes, I had to do it for myself. And once I committed to me, once I commit to me, it's I'm my biggest commitment. I'm the hardest on myself, and I wasn't going anywhere. But I'm not every morning when I woke up at 5:30 in the morning or 5 a.m. or 4:30 for farming. I was like, oh God, what did I do?
Got it.
And it's just 90 days is not a small amount of time. It's short when you're trying to get there, but it's a lot of putting your feet on the floor in the morning and in a place that was really dirty and really run down. Absolutely nothing that made me feel comfortable. Like at one point on one of the shows, I'm like, I just want to go to Chanel and sit on the little poofy thing and just smell the place.
And
like,
get the
just
free,
sit there and smell it.
and get the free champagne. So if they still do that, I don't know what COVID and all that. All right. So
oh my God, the blow dry bar, the little free
yeah, I was gonna say, right?
You can basically drink all over Beverly Hills for free if you know where to go. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole day. You get services and drink and not pay for anything but the service.
I love it.
You know?
Well, the more money you have, the less you pay for things. You know that. So all right. So you're going through a moment of self-discovery. You know, we'll get into a minute, give the teaser. We'll keep the everybody happy. We'll give you a little teaser. But I want to go just one more second, a little deeper on. You seemed like you were kind of pivoting in your life, your personal life. And this was almost therapeutic in a way. Is that fair to say? Or no? Not therapeutic is the right word, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, obviously, you know, I was planning on doing something before it actually was greenlit. I wanted to do something, you know, unique and helpful. And my platform for doing something on a show was much more circled around homelessness because I have some, you know, very strong views about that.
Yes.
And unfortunately, with COVID, the sort of the dynamic of what they wanted to create a show out of was everything has to fit together in order for them to actually make good television. And given that I have never made television, I don't know how to make television. It wasn't really up to me in some regards to say, oh no, I just want to do this. I want to do it this way.
Yeah.
The show is not designed like that. This show is literally, it's reality from day one. They come to the house, they say your goodbyes and put whatever you need in your backpack, and we are leaving. Wow. They give you a walkie-talkie. I had a walkie-talkie, and I headed north, and I did not know where I was going till I saw the sign.
Oh, wow.
And then they're like, okay, you need to find a place to stay. Here's your new rig. Here's your phone. And there's an envelope with $100. And the team follows you around documentary style.
Yeah.
And we have a story that we tell everyone here in town. Yeah. Hi, my name is Elaine Ringe, and we are filming a documentary on farming called American Pride. Yeah. That's my shtick. That's the best way that I could be undercover. 90%, 95% of the people didn't really have issue with the story. The ones that were naysayers or not sure were people that were in the industry and knew that it was a very expensive production and that farming documentaries would not be able to pay for those cameras.
Interesting.
So that was kind of where I felt like those guys are from Fox. Like, we can't go by Fox News. They're going to know, you know, or
correct.
That looks like another they're going to know, you know.
Correct.
They were of no help in terms of helping me navigate because it was their job explicitly not to help me.
Interesting.
Meaning my team.
Yeah, correct. And that was part of it. So I don't want to give too much away because I want you to see it. So the first few episodes that I saw, Elaine has a specific strategy as to how she went about things. She does things a lot differently than the first season, as well as the other two participants in the season. You have to watch to find out. But Elaine, why don't you give a little teaser, because there's about 8 or so episodes left. Walk us through a little bit about what we can expect that you're allowed to talk about.
Well, I can tell you that my strategy, Grant's, and Monique's are completely different. Yes. So as you guys watch the show, if you would, on Discovery Plus, Wednesday nights, as you watch the show, in between the scenes, you'll see these interviews where we talk about our strategy. And they are still being filmed because a lot of this literally was 90 days of filming nonstop. Wow. Huge production. You're talking about 4 cameras, 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
And if you think about that editing down into 43 minutes of television or something like that, it's shocking what doesn't make it to the actual scene.
Yeah.
Because they have to piece it together in a way that it makes sense. And I can tell you, like, the strategy for me was to keep the original team that helped me out, keep them together at all costs, because they gave me help when shelter and food when I had nothing. And they were all in a really bad situation and needed my help.
To begin with, correct.
So that was my strategy, which is generally my strategy in business, is to kind of stick with who you know. And I can't speak on behalf of Grant and Monique, and I have no idea what their outcomes are. So I can only tell you that my team and what we did is very prolific, very important. It's monumentally important to small farming, and it speaks to American pride in a way that I had no idea still existed.
So before we conclude, because we'll put a link to the show and a link to your social stuff. You're a very successful entrepreneur, very successful female business owner, and you brought up a good point because you kind of answered some of my question. Is you had kind of your beliefs and your thoughts on how you did business, and you brought them over to this endeavor. But even though, like, your experience, what have you learned from the experience? After the 90 days, and I know you can't give out the outcome, but what are some of the things you learned that even in business now, you're like, oh crap, you know what? I'm going to do things differently because of this experience.
Well, one thing I think I knew it maybe, but I just didn't know how to articulate it.
Yeah.
We are very caught up in this country, probably across the globe, in counting our wealth in one currency, and that's the US dollar or real dollars. That's how we count our wealth on our balance sheet.
Correct.
And this experience has given me a real big crystal ball glass eye into what existential value is.
Yes.
And we need to start really paying people for what their existential assets are.
Yes.
Because if you don't think about someone's health when you hire them, and their age when you hire them, and their interest and their drive and their
personal life,
habits and their personal life, if you don't start thinking about all those things when you're hiring somebody, you're missing the boat. Because there are some people that really deserve the job, and there are some people that will do the job better than other people. And it's often not about their value as you see them, what they're wearing, what jewelry they have on, what car they rolled up in, what kind of computer they have. It's often just about what's going on in here, like what's going on in here and what's going on in here.
I love it.
Right?
Now, but this last question on that, and before we wrap up, and you kind of actually just jostled a thought in my mind. As entrepreneurs, we have payroll, and interesting enough is, we assume people are like us, or like how we used to be, where we want to get paid, we want to get compensated, we want money, right? But sometimes there are non-cash compensation that goes a long way that's congruent to kind of what you just said. So now, not that you try to take money out of people's mouth, but now that you did this experience and you put compensation plans together for your multiple teams, are you going to maybe take more of a holistic approach and maybe offer non-cash stuff or stuff that may be more meaningful than just a 5% raise, or not? Like, walk us through that a little bit, because I think that's a good question to ask.
If you think that the only way you're going to get the best person is by paying them a salary, that's just not. The better person might be the person that doesn't want a salary. Sometimes the best person for the job is the person that says, look, I don't want you to pay me anything. I'm going to work for you for 30 days. And then I'm going to ask you to pay me what I'm worth. And it's probably going to be a percentage of what I earn you. And so I want you to get ready for that, because it's going to really impact you when you have to say no, because you don't want to give up that part of your profit.
Love it.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to get a piece of the action. I strongly recommend don't focus on that hourly thing. And know it's hard to do that. But if you put your money where your mouth is, you have to have grit. You've got to be able to do the job. And commission jobs are incredible. I mean, we should all be doing them.
I agree on the commission. And what I promise you one last question, because I love talking to you, because you're ready to have another mind. I struggle this with all the time. I either do consulting where people ask me what to do, or I have employees that come to me, or I want to give it to them. And I asked this, I don't know if you know Gary Vee, ask Gary Vee, how are you with equity? Because like commission, I believe in, but equity gets tricky. So how do you balance, hey, I want to make you a part of the team and I'll give you a commission. But when equity is a funny beast,
Well,
so
people don't understand, first of all, equity and there's sweat equity is an actual commodity. Yeah. And a lot of people don't understand that. And, it's very easy. How many hours are you working? What's your hourly rate? How much time have you put in? Times
Yeah.
that is what you owe me down the road. Because I didn't get paid right away, I'd like an extra 15% for waiting for my money.
Correct.
I mean, you can actually come up with a formula for sweat equity
Yeah.
if you're concerned about giving someone 5% of your business, for example.
Got it.
You say, look, I can only generate this much. This is what I would pay you if I could write you a check. Because I can't write you a check, I'm going to pay you that plus
Got it.
for your sweat equity. There's a formula that you can make. And if you can't make a formula, maybe you should sit down and try to think about it, because it can be, and I think is to a lot of people, especially in this day and age, the difference between the success and failure of your business is the ability to pivot like that.
And that's, if you tune into this, I hope you listen to this whole thing or watch this whole thing, because this is super important. Elaine, how can we find you?
Oh, definitely on Lipstick Farmer Instagram. My Lipstick Farmer Instagram. Please find me on Lipstick Farmer. There's nothing better than driving a tractor if you're a girl. It's super fun.
I love it. So put the link to Lipstick Farmer below. We will put a link to the show. And Elaine, listen, I know you have a busy schedule. I know you're out of Fresno, and thank you for being on the New Theory podcast.
Hey, Tom, have me on again, okay?
Same to you. Thank you.